What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today in this video we are back talking the UEFA Champions League. We're going to be having a look back at my group stage predictions that I made at the end of August and seeing how I got on. I feel like I did pretty well, and then we're going to be going forward and I'm going to give you my round of 16 predictions for the Champions League. So we're reacting and we're predicting. It's awesome. If you're excited, be sure to leave a like on this video. Let's try and break, I don't know, 200 likes. Let's see if we can do that on this Champions League video today. And then drop your predictions down in the comments below with how you think each team is going to fare in the round of 16. Maybe go even further. Who do you think is going to win the whole damn thing? Let me know down in the comments. But kicking it off, we had Group A, and I correctly predicted both teams that qualified, and I correctly predicted the position they both finished in, with PSG finishing first and Real Madrid finishing second. It wasn't quite a perfect group for me because I predicted Galatasaray to finish in third, and they actually finished in fourth. So I got Galatasaray and Club Brugge the wrong way around, but that's not too bad. Coming up next, we had Group B, and again, I correctly predicted the two that qualified and the order in which they did, with Bayern Munich topping the group and Tottenham finishing second. I did, however, say that Red Star Belgrade would finish third in the group. They ended up finishing fourth in the group, again, getting third and fourth the wrong way around. After that, we have Group C. This is probably one of the best predictions I made. I got Group C perfectly correct from first place down to fourth, including predicting first-timers Atalanta to make it through to the round of 16, and after losing their first 3 games, it certainly wasn't looking likely, but I predicted Man City first, Atalanta second, Shakhtar Donetsk third, and Dynamo Zagreb fourth, which was a perfect prediction. Coming up for Group D, I went for a little bit of a shock. I predicted Atletico Madrid to finish top of the group instead of Juventus, with Juventus coming in second, so I got both those qualifying right, just Juventus actually finished top, and Atletico finished second, and I correctly predicted Bayer Leverkusen to finish in the Europa League spot, with Lokomotiv Moscow down at the bottom. And coming up after that, we have Group E, which was another perfect prediction, first through to fourth from me, with Liverpool at the top of the group, Napoli in second, FC Salzburg in third, and Genk in fourth. So looking pretty good. Coming up next, we had Group F, and it was a very, very tough one to predict. I went for a little bit of a shock, well, very much a shock. I decided to just chuck Borussia Dortmund in at first and Barcelona at second. I got the two teams that qualified correct again, but obviously Barcelona finished first, Borussia Dortmund finished second, Inter Milan finished third in the Europa League spot, and Slavia Prague finished in fourth. But they didn't have a terrible group stage, it does have to be said. Now, the final two groups are the only ones where I didn't correctly predict both teams that were qualifying. But with Group G, I predicted that Lyon would qualify through in first place. They actually finished in second. And I predicted that Benfica would qualify in second place, and they finished in third. And RB Leipzig, who I predicted to finish in third, which was doing them a bit of a disservice, I did say that in other videos, they finished in first. So basically, just take RB Leipzig out of my third place prediction, put them in first, and move the other teams down, and you have a perfect group. Then Group H, very, very surprising. I predicted Ajax to top the group, and they finished in third. And I predicted Valencia to finish in third, and they topped the group. So just swap Ajax and Valencia around from my predictions, and there would be another perfect group there. But I did predict Chelsea to qualify, so I predicted 14 of the 16 teams to qualify, only missing out on RB Leipzig and Valencia. So I'm quite proud of that, to be honest. But now we move on to the round of 16 predictions. Now, obviously, because they do the quarterfinal draw after the round of 16, you can't basically make a Champions League bracket and predict all the way to the final. So you can only really do, realistically, the round of 16 predictions, because you wouldn't then know the quarterfinal matchups, even if you were to get everything in the round of 16 right. But basically, I'm going to be going through the 8 ties and telling you maybe a little bit about each tie, and ultimately how I think it's going to end, and potentially could set up the quarterfinal. So it's very, very, very exciting, and there's some amazing ties in this tournament. Kicking it off, we have Borussia Dortmund versus PSG. Now, first of all, Borussia Dortmund are looking pretty good on the attack. They're always a very good attacking unit. They let themselves down a little bit at the back sometimes, but Erling Haaland had his debut. He came on after Borussia Dortmund went 3-1 down to Augsburg, I believe, and within 25 minutes, he'd scored a hat-trick, and they won the game 5-3. It was absolutely phenomenal. I saw a thing that basically said that both Erling Haaland and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored hat-tricks on their debut, including scoring with their first shot, both against Augsburg, and both wearing the number 17. That's just absolutely crazy. But the thing is, PSG are only looking stronger and stronger every single year. Mbappe, Neymar, and Icardi look great, like one of the best front threes in Europe. And Neymar's attitude seems to be very, very much improved. I mean, I'm assuming he's not going to get injured again this time round, but he's come out saying that his future is with PSG. He wants to win the Champions League with PSG, which is very, very different, a very different vibe to what we got from Neymar last year and in previous years. And he seems to be enjoying himself. Mbappe's enjoying himself, and I know he'd love to win the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain before he goes on to greater things. So I think the fact that PSG are just looking really, really good this year, more so than other years, they would have learned from last year and from other years where they've failed in the Champions League, and I think they will have enough to get past Borussia Dortmund in this tie. I think Dortmund are going to make it exciting. I just think PSG are too good, so I'm going to go with Paris Saint-Germain to advance in that tie. The next one, Atalanta versus Valencia. This is a very, very tough one. Both favourable ties for Atalanta and Valencia because they are two of the weaker teams left in the Champions League. But Atalanta and Valencia are both a little bit shaky at the moment. Most recently, at the time of recording, Atalanta lost to bottom of the league Spal, which is just crazy. At home as well, I think. They haven't had the best 2020 so far. They got 2 5-0 wins at home, and since then, I don't think they've won a game. Valencia recently lost in La Liga to Mallorca, 4-1. So it's up in the air as to who's going to go through in this tie, and I really couldn't decide, and I think home form will prevail in both legs here. Atalanta do tend to perform, despite their loss to Spal, much better at home, and obviously Valencia, they perform much better at home as well. And it's so tough to call, but I backed Atalanta in the groups against the odds as the underdog, so you know what, just because I couldn't really decide, I'm gonna back Atalanta to make it through to the quarterfinals. I think the heart and the spirit will be there. Valencia could easily go through. I'm not certain on this one, but just because I couldn't really decide, I used the fact that I backed Atalanta in the group stage to decide this one. Now, the next fixture, or tie I should say, is Tottenham versus RB Leipzig. Now, Harry Kane, I'm assuming, will be out at least for the home leg, the away leg being played in March, so he might return. I'm not entirely sure. I'm predicting a very high-scoring first leg, perhaps a 2-2 result here, and I think that will leave RB Leipzig in a great position to get the win at home in the return leg and advance through to the quarterfinals. And ultimately, I do think RB Leipzig will be able to advance to the quarterfinals against Tottenham. Don't write Tottenham off. They've had great, recent history in Europe, making it to the Champions League final last year against the odds multiple times, beating Man City, Ajax. They had a great knockout stage run, so I wouldn't write them off completely. But RB Leipzig are scoring goals for fun, looking very prolific in the Bundesliga, and I think they'll be able to have enough to beat Tottenham in this tie. Given Tottenham's recent shaky form, RB Leipzig definitely isn't having a shaky run at the moment, so I think Leipzig will get through. The next tie is Chelsea up against Bayern Munich, and in my opinion, Bayern should breeze through this round. They're too good in Europe. They're unstoppable, because you'd probably say at the moment Tottenham and Chelsea are at similar sort of levels, and Bayern Munich dismantled Tottenham in the group stage, and Chelsea only just made it through the group stage. So I think it's going to be a close game at Stamford Bridge, much like it was with Bayern Munich at Anfield. But unlike when Liverpool went to Bayern Munich and actually beat them 3-1 away from home in the previous Champions League season, I don't think Chelsea will be able to get a result against Bayern Munich away from home. So I think Bayern will advance through to the quarterfinals. It's unfortunate that Chelsea got such a tough tie, but that's what the Champions League's all about, and I don't see them upsetting the odds in this one. The next fixture is Napoli versus Barcelona. I don't have to, and therefore won't have to, speak about this for too long. Barcelona are just too good. They've been stung in recent Champions Leagues, and I don't think they'll let it happen again. And on top of that, Napoli are in very, very poor form. For the last couple of months, they've been really, really struggling to get the wins. They've been dropping down the Serie A table, and they're not firing. They're not firing like they used to. Barcelona will win this tie easily, in my opinion. This was the easiest one to determine, I think. The next tie, because I missed it, because I'd scrolled down on my list, is, don't worry, I haven't forgotten it. It's Atletico Madrid versus Liverpool. I'm going for Liverpool to qualify in this tie. I think there'll be low-scoring games, and they'll get the wins just like they do in the Premier League. It perfectly suits them. Atletico Madrid also have low-scoring games. When they win 1 or 2-0 usually. And I think as Liverpool are in better form than Atletico Madrid, I think they'll be able to get a solid 2-3-0 win at Anfield and then maybe play out a 1-1 draw away from home. So I think Liverpool are going to advance comfortably enough against Atletico Madrid. Coming up, we have Lyon up against Juventus. Now, Lyon are a decent team. They are a decent team. They're a good attacking outfit. They always have been, but they're just not on the level of Juventus. Ronaldo has started 2020 very well, scoring goals, but as well as that, Dybala and Higuain are looking on top form. So I expect Juventus to qualify from this tie. This could be an upset like we had with Ajax Juventus last year, but at the same time, for this one, I don't see it. Juventus to qualify, making a very good-looking quarterfinal by the looks of things at the moment. And the final tie is, in my opinion, the toughest one to predict. It is Real Madrid up against Manchester City. Finally, Man City haven't got an easy, favourable tie in the early knockout stages of the Champions League. Not that it's really made a difference in the end, because they never seem to make it all the way in Europe. And could this be their year? Just like last year, Man City are still the favourites to win the tournament, despite their round of 16 tie against Real Madrid. And I really do think this is going to be a tough one to predict, but with full fitness, I think Manchester City will be able to advance just. Laporte actually played against Sheffield United in the Premier League last night at the time of recording, so having him back in the team by the time the Champions League rolls around will help them out massively. And De Bruyne has been playing an unreal game, already clocking 15 assists in the Premier League, which is just ridiculous. And Sergio Aguero is as prolific and clinical as he's ever been, and I really think that Manchester City will be able to get past Real Madrid if they're at full fitness. I just think at the Etihad, it'll be like a 3 or 4-1 type fixture. And I think away from home, Manchester City will just try and match Real Madrid, knowing that they're going to play very strong at home. It's going to be a very exciting tie, and it is definitely one of the tougher ones. I'm not going to say I guarantee that Man City will go through, but when I looked at it and I had to pick someone, I did pick City to beat Real Madrid on this occasion. So that is going to do it for my Champions League group stage reaction and round of 16 prediction. As always, let me know your predictions down in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe today and turn on the bell so you don't miss a future video. The next one will be week 25 of the Premier League predictions, and then we'll have the round of 16 coming up very soon for the Champions League. But yes, leave a like as I said, and I will see you in the next video very soon.